and then the smoking era would have run from, say, 1970 all the way to 1950 would have been people that were in the smoking era where everybody thought it was so cool to smoke a cigarette. Max, did you ever smoke?
Never did.
But all right, so your lungs are still strong, but I guarantee you the folks that smoked from 1950 to 1970, their lungs were not near as strong as somebody that didn't smoke. And I think smoking really has hurt the folks of 70 years and older.
It has done that. I agree, Mike. That's, we knew a little bit about it those days, but, not...
it was a cool thing to do. You weren't really being cool, Max, because you didn't smoke. Well, I should have added this drink.
I'll tell you what I did, Mike. I mean, everybody, that was such a cool thing. We all wore the white T-shirts.
That's right.
Put the Lucky Strikes in there and roll them.
Oh, roll them, yeah. Yeah.
Remember, Lucky Strike had a big red emblem on the pack.
Yeah.
People really did that in Alabama, like in the movie Grease.
Oh, yeah, they did that, especially in your dad's era, the 50s, early 50s, mid-50s.
That's true, yeah.
I was another one of the heroes back in those days were the guys that faces appeared on Wheaties cornflakes. And if you got your picture on the front of Wheaties like Bob Richards did, you remember he was one of those All-American guys. He was a pole vaulter, and he won the decathlon that year. He was everybody's hero for a while, wasn't he?
I remember that.
You remember that speech he made? He also made a lot of speeches.
Your hero was Bruce Jenner. He was on the cover of the Wheaties box. Look what happened to him.
Yes, he was.
Oh, boy. How could Bruce, isn't that unbelievable? You're right. Yeah. In fact, Bruce Jenner was one of my heroes at one time.
They still
Mike.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying that, he won the decathlon and he was a great athlete.
He was a good athlete, yeah.
No question about it.
When he won that decathlon, that was a huge story. Yeah. The decathletes winning the gold medal, that was featured more than anything else on those 1976 Olympics. And then I noticed later, they don't cover the decathlon in the Olympics like they did in Bruce Jenner's era. It's weird.
Yeah. I was looking at all the great teams, in the era, college football era, I reckon it would have to start with Oklahoma, and there are all those winning streaks that they had there. Then, of course, Texas was real good with Coach Royal. Southern Cal was so very good with Coach McKay. Notre Dame was real good with
Starting with New Rockney.
No, what was his name?
Barsegian.
And then, of course, Alabama with Bear Bryant. And then, I can't leave this guy out at Oklahoma. He was pretty good, wasn't he?
Oklahoma, Nebraska, Penn State.
Switzer. And the reason, and I say this to all you Nebraska fans out there, you got to be good, but you had to be beat to a pulp 2 years in a row by Alabama for you to finally realize you better have some speed. And once they got speed, Nebraska started whipping everybody because they were far ahead of everybody else in strength program. Wouldn't you say, Max?
Well, I told you when we first sent me out to Nebraska, they had the best in-house weight program of anybody in the country at the college level.
And they had a guy that was a post magazine front page of a magazine was named Remington. You remember him?
Oh yeah, he was a center.
Yeah, the center. I mean, he was their top player, and he was a center. That's where they looked at it.
Yep, it was, but that was where we really upgraded our situation at Troy in those days, was to try to get basically to get the weight program at the college. Yeah. Remember, Billy'd been to the NFL, and and on top of that, he coached there, but he'd already been scouting all over the country.
Unless a few of you and Jim Tompkins left them a few barbells, maybe. They did not have a single barbell on their campus when y'all got here. They had to. They were good players, but they were weak.
Well, Mike, the weight program program I told you was run by Dick Constantine.
Yeah.
And it was done for track and field, but it was mainly done to teach.
Yeah, PE classes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he taught kinesiology, using the weights and all. And, I mean,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
where it evolved from it for.
But everybody was pointing over there. See that guy right over there, number 70, though? He's stronger and bigger than most of y'all, and he looks like Hercules. And I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but you better work out. But I guarantee you, other than maybe Charles Koch, who won him a football player, you're about the only guy that was on that team that were working out regularly with weights.
Well, when I first got there, and of course, I said Bill Clipson and Bevan Lucas and that bunch, they were trying to get it into the football. They understood, that's what you had to have, but they got very little support.
And there were some natural guys like Jim Tompkins came from Brantley High School, and he was a little bit younger than you, and you taught him the ropes. You even taught Faircloth the ropes as far as weights. You actually pretty much were teaching them weights before the head coaches doing it. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, I was fortunate enough to be in some programs, and again, it started real early along that, and how that evolved. You remember more about that than I do.
Yeah.
Because I was just there. I was part of the program.
Yeah.
But I already learned quickly, even in high school, Mike, that the whole key to whatever success I could get was based on that weight program. I knew I had to be stronger than everybody else.
I know this, when Atkins came in, there were 65 players on Clemson's roster, and I think he asked 8 players out of the 65
wow.
that would stay with the program, and only half of those guys were scholarship guys. And then when y'all came in, that's you had to go out and do what y'all did by bringing in what, if you want to call them renegades, to play. That's exactly what they were called at one time. They didn't stay renegades very long, though, did they?
They weren't just called transfers?
Yeah, they transferred, but they called them renegades because most of them were unhappy at their colleges where they were.
That is true, and you go back and look, and most of those guys came in to form to our system. We were fortunate enough to win with them, and they all ended up being good citizens and being very successful.
No question about it. And Sim Bird, of course, was one of those guys, but he got here a year earlier, and he played quarterback for the Pi Kappa Phi fraternity.
Amazing story.
So who was the quarterback at Georgia when Sam left Georgia? Who would he had to try to beat out?
Kirby Sims.
He wasn't playing quarterback.
Kirby. Wait a minute. The quarterback. We had his brother on our team.
Well, Max just said they had him as a defensive back at
He was
Georgia.
the kicker on our team.
That's why he quit.
Yeah, that's why Sim quit, was they moved him to defensive back. And the quarterback at Georgia at that time was Kirby. Sims. But we had his brother on our team. He was our place kicker, and I'm trying to remember.
There's a lot of quarterbacks who went on to greatness.
It might have been Preston Riddle.
At their first school, the coaches had them playing some other position. Who was the quarterback for Auburn a couple years ago that was so good running the option? He played at Georgia. And
Marshall.
They had him as a defensive back at Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. But we were very grateful that Sim Bird decided to come to Troy, and the rest is history.
Well, it was. I mean, that kind of set the stage, and we already knew about him based on the information.
Yeah.
Remember when Billy came? Billy had been a scout. I told you with the NFL. He already had the contacts with the different colleges through this part of the country. And here was something a lot of folks missed with Billy. He knew the rules inside and out, Mike. I mean, I'm telling you, we used to have staff meetings with just how to use the rules in our favor. And of course, a lot of the SEC schools, most of them would take married kids, and that was the first thing we did. We found those kids that were good players that had movement and wanted to transfer. And Ralph Adams gave Billy every opportunity, gave the wives a job on campus, got them a scholarship, gave them an apartment, and that's when we built it.
Oh yeah, you got a bunch on from Chattanooga that the old man there, the coach there was the old man that coached at Chattanooga for all those years. What was his name? Oh shoot!
Well,
But you know we got Bobby Enslin, we got Danny Grant, we got Buck Dees. That was 3 of them right there. We got from Chattanooga.
Bransfield, Danny Grant.
Yeah, Bransfield and Grant. We got a bunch of them out of Chattanooga. And then later on, he went up there and whipped them with a 4-string quarterback. You remember that?
That's right. That was his last. I remember that.
Exactly right. Max, of course, we're looking again at college football.
I was reading an article that Miles Brennan, who's supposed to be the quarterback at LSU, is taking over for Joe Burrow, but his family is the famous Brennans out of New Orleans. Owns Brennan.
The restaurant Brennan's.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'll tell you right now, LSU will not be a national championship this year. They had a great quarterback, and he's the reason they won a national championship.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had 13 others that went.
Yeah, that's right. They went with the. That's right.
Drafted, and they have Jamar Chase back at wide receiver, who's probably their best wide receiver. So they still got a lot of talent coming back.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember when Brennan played against Troy in that game where Troy upset LSU, and they just shut him down tremendously. But
I've eaten at Brennan's before. When Dad took us to the Sugar Bowl when Alabama played Ohio State in '77, and we went to Brennan's and the Commander's Palace.
Yeah.
And
you know when you go in there now, you pay $100 for breakfast. You pay $100, but it's more food than you ever seen in your life. But it costs you about $100 a person. Did you know that, Max? To eat breakfast at Brennan's, which they're famous for their breakfast.
All you gotta do is just go win $100 in blackjack. And,
I mean,
and then you got your breakfast paid.
Anybody that gambles, $100 is nothing. You know, we throw that away. Of course, that's one of the things, Michael, that I've been sort of not concerned with. I don't really care about it, but is the casinos how are they doing it? Every 3 slots they're blocked until you. What do they do?
I know Mississippi casinos are back open. I know Vegas casinos are opening back up. I think every one of them today. Because they keep on sending me email after email about
come on out there, yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard that they're opening, for certain sections, and they're trying to keep everybody safe.